Now we have one of our outstanding faculty that is going to give a presentation, Dr. John Armstrong. Come on up, John.
Well, thanks so much. And I'll say what a pleasure it is to be here today with you all for this incredible event. And I'm pleased today to share part of what I focus on in a forthcoming paper examining public participation and social movement in environmental policy and justice. So today I want to invite you to join me in grappling with a fateful question, which is this one. What will it take to achieve the transformational changes necessary to tackle climate change? The most important part of the very complicated answer, in my view, is people power. That is political power built and leveraged through sustained social movement participation. Yes, of course, we need the major system level changes to cut our emissions across energy, industrial operations, transportation, and many other sectors. And while those shifts are not easy, in fact, some of them are very difficult, the good news is that we already possess the technological changes necessary to address climate change, like renewable energy, efficiency measures, sustainable transit systems, and many other solutions that are generally feasible, cost effective, and rapidly advancing. No, in my view, the biggest obstacle is not the technological limitations. Rather, it's that the necessary changes affect many of the world's most powerful corporations. Chief among them is the fossil fuel industry, which has harnessed unparalleled financial and political influence to undermine climate actions. They spent billions on political activities, spread denial and doubt, and cultivated deep-seated political ties and dependencies that are entrenched throughout our society and government. And that's why public participation is paramount. It's absolutely necessary to counteract their influence and challenge those status quo systems. There's a valuable lesson here from the first Earth Day, April 22nd, 1970, when approximately 20 million people joined marches and other events across the country. That public outcry, it followed years of terrible air pollution, worsening environmental conditions, and scientific warnings. Yet it took that extraordinary level of public participation, public involvement to help achieve what followed: the creation of the US Environmental Protection Agency and a spate of landmark environmental laws that we depend on today, including the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act. There are some striking parallels today. We are experiencing more and worse impacts of climate change, from sea level rise to extreme heat and wildfires. The scientific warnings now are overwhelming and ever more urgent. Fortunately, more and more people are also recognizing climate change for the crisis it is and calling for action. And that's good news, because while direct impacts and science are essential ingredients to policy change, creating the political will to break through the fossil fuel industry's grip and the gridlock that exists in Washington, D.C., will also require an even larger, sustained social movement. And this is daunting, and I'll say it's easy to feel hopeless given the scale of the challenge or discouraged by the problems with the solutions. But the bright side I also see is the agency that people have. Collectively, regular people can move climate change to the top of local, state, and even national policy agendas. How? By participating within and outside of policy processes, as I examine in the paper, and organizing family, friends in our communities, getting involved in environmental organizations, joining protest actions, voting for elected officials who support climate actions, and then pushing them to enact more and more ambitious climate actions. CEGS, by the way, has some great resources about getting involved with local environmental organizations. Now, in all this, I don't want to sugarcoat where we are with climate change. The global emissions trajectory is far from where it needs to be to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius or even 2 degrees. Most countries, including ours, have failed to enact policies to meet their targets. The economic, technical, and political hurdles are high and quite complicated. Despite that, one of the reasons I'm hopeful, and I really am, is that political and policy changes, the major ones, are rarely linear. They come when awareness, impacts, and public pressure create tipping points. Earth Day in 1970 was one such tipping point, among several in the history of environmental progress. Today, with people feeling climate impacts firsthand and the availability of solutions, I'm optimistic that the conditions are beginning to align for transformative action. That is, if enough people get involved and participate in those social movements demanding it. Thanks very much.